Quick, get in the car. We have to go back to the vinyl. There's only one way we can get there. Oh, no, it doesn't take this fuel. We got it. It's time to go back to the future. Oh, shit. I put it on fast forward. I've gone forward to the future. Oh, I hope I can get out of this. Yes! I think it's working. Damn it! We haven't gone far enough back in time. I don't know about that fuel before. Maybe we need something a bit newer to take us further back. Let's try this. It's working. Yes, we've made it back to the vinyl. I've got the juice. I've got the player. I haven't got the batteries, but I've got it all plugged in. I think it's good. It's going to happen. Back to the vinyl. Cheers everyone, we made it. We made it back in time. Back to the vinyl. Back beyond the vinyl. Forget about that. Congrats Mark from Back to the Vinyl. This is a subscriber contest, 250 subscribers. Congratulations Mark. Great job. Mark, if you're not subscribed, absolutely fantastic channel. You know, always something surprising. Some real quality stuff that he's showing, and just recently too, the equipment video Mark's put up of his amps, tube amps and the like. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So cheers to you Mark. I'd have another one here but I didn't remember to, so Grandma's little helper. We got Bundaberg tropical sparkling mango drink. I was at a wedding last night, so I'm not too keen on recreating last night's festivities. Keep it a little bit safer. But it's brewed like a beer and tastes like a soft drink, so it's lovely stuff. Alright, this contest had me thinking. Mark said, go somewhere and show some records, just outside the usual environment. And I knew he had this trip coming up to a wedding, so I thought, well, what a good time to go. And where we were going was right near where we always went, me and my family, on holidays as a kid. So I've got very strong ties to this, and I started thinking, what if we travelled back in time? And that was as good an excuse as any to show some albums, I suppose 3 albums that I travelled back in time to when I first started going out to gigs in the city, in Sydney. So this is about some Sydney millennial post-rock style bands, 3 albums, 3 great underrated albums. I just want to show those. A lot of these bands sort of only ever made 1 album and an EP or 2 and disbanded, you know. They went on to other bands or you know, just financially it wasn't viable. But what they left is a legacy of some really, really well-made albums or EPs and things. So just wanted to show you 3 of those at the moment. They're often also small local labels, and you know, because you're dealing on a small scale, people in the band were quite often engineers or sound musicians, and that's actually who we were visiting last night. We're a couple of sound engineer friends that found each other and got married. So Kath and Todd, quickly, congratulations if you see this. Alright, first band we've got is 2 Litre Dolby. So this is a post-rock album, a Sydney band. They labelled themselves as Wentworthville's Finest from 1999. And what are we talking? 1, 2, 3, 8 tracks. Each track pushes in at about sort of 8 minutes long each, so real post-rock epics. You know, it's very interesting as well, because where they came from was in the middle of Western Sydney, effectively a nowhere land for music. So this sort of music comes out of this nowhere land, and yet they still went in and played inner city venues and, you know, made a real impact at a local level. Anyway, they put this album out on Half a Cow. I don't know if you can see that there. Half a Cow is a pretty influential Sydney label throughout the 90s and into the 2000s as well. There's a Smudge and Lemonheads connection in there. Anyway, this is a 3-piece post-rock, and as such, I think some of the delicacy of the other post-rock albums is left behind. There's a lot more explosive drumming and riffage and things on there. And I'll get some needle drops or CD drop clips in there so you can have a listen. Like free jazz noise in there in some songs, plenty of amped up distortions, and we're talking minimal vocals as well. But yeah, like, you know, on a world scale, maybe not a world beater, but at the time, for the one album that they ever put out, I think it was a great little album. Alright, the next one. Sorry. Just making sure I don't lose stuff in the creek back here. It's a bit ridiculous. Very high winds at the moment, so yeah, if I go running for a quick dip, it means one of my records or CDs has done the same. Next one is Purplene, self-titled album from 2004. Now this is a fantastic, I don't know if it's completely post-rock, what could I call it? It's sort of math rock elements in there. It's quite delicate for post-rock, even if there are a few bits of distortion, but the distortion and guitars are quite minimal. They tend to leave the guitars quite clean, and the guitars are able to weave around. They use distortion pretty subtly as well, so it sort of creates the dynamic and the pull and push tension and atmosphere of the songs. But at the same time, I've always enjoyed the rhythm section in here. They're pretty muscular. It's all these bands that I'm showing today. You know, muscular yet supple enough to change tempos and timing, those sorts of post-rock tropes. And there's a lot of surprisingly tender moments as well, so have a listen, and yeah, hopefully you get a picture of what I'm talking about. And what I have to say is this really is a beautiful album to listen to as well. It was actually engineered very well as well by Steve Albini at Chicago, or at Electrical Audio in Chicago. And that was kind of a big deal for a Sydney band at the time, because these guys more or less saved up their money, what little they had, and then spent about 5 days or so recording this album in Chicago with Steve Albini recording, for a very defined attempt to capture or encapsulate their sound in a very natural state. And I think that really paid off here as well. What they needed to do as a result was get in and really nail down the song arrangements and things, because as an indie band, time was money, working in such halls as Steve Albini's. So yeah, their pre-production led to some really tightly arranged songs, and as a result the engineering and the playing is able to really showcase everything good about this band. Very interestingly, none of these were released on vinyl at the time. However, this has just been released for the first time on vinyl, limited to 300. And I was looking at the CD credits in here, and there was a vinyl mastering credit back in 2004. So by the sound of it, they were planning to put this on vinyl back then, but never quite got it done. So there we go, Purplene from 2004, highly recommended. Now, a very similar band to Purplene, and possibly almost my favourite, this is a real underrated gem, the Rebel Astronauts, and this is called Windmills vs Shrapnel. And as you can see, it's just a lovely little package there in CD. That's also another thing with all of these, they're all cardboard packages, so it shows a lot of thought and detail to the design and the packaging and what they want to present. So yeah, 6 tracks, again each song's roughly around about 6 minutes long on average. Numbered package, 385 here. And what they show, you've got your CD, in your polymer or paper bag, but they also give some postcards of just what the actual album is showing. So there's the band there itself. Now what I like with this as well is that the bass player is also the person recording the album, Emma Hoy, and they've showed some little snapshots of what they went through here to record the album. And I think quite pertinently is this one at the end. As you can see, that great evocative shot with the handbook on acoustics in the bottom there, the book. Very important, because what they actually did, and this is another thing that Australian bands would tend to do around about that time, is take over a hall or a theatre or some sort of space with which to record in for a week, knock out an album after months of practicing and playing, and get it right. So you have this real sense of time and place. You get the sound of that room there, really beautifully crafted and thought about. Nothing just tossed aside. It's all very, very artfully done. So yeah, have a listen and see if you can put any descriptors to Windmills vs Shrapnel.
Beside me, enclosed in my mind, so
what can I say about it? It's hard to put into words. The drumming is just amazing on there. Brie Van Ryck ended up going on to play for people like Paul Kelly and a slew of Aussie solo acts as well. So just a great underrated drummer. More than that, the guitars, you know, distortion in all the right places, plenty of warm amp hum, you know, ghostly echoes and things like that as well. So just everything in its right place, inventive arrangements, and you know, what more can I say? Indeed, that just about rounds up this episode. But you know, we said it was all back to the vinyl. And you know how I like a good story and things to close up. Well, here's a piece of vinyl. You might have seen it a little bit earlier. And this is a 7-inch, split 7-inch between the two bands that I've shown. If I can get my finger off it there. We've got Purplene and Rebel Astronauts. And on the back, it's got recorded by Emma Hoy of Rebel Astronauts and Kathleen Burrows. And Kathleen Burrows was actually the person who we went to see get married yesterday. So celebrations all around. What a great time. Cheers, Mark, at Back to the Vinyl. Thanks for allowing me to enter into your great contest. Thanks for allowing me to show a little bit of, you know, sort of a spiritual homeland, an area where I spent a lot of time as a kid around this sort of area. So thank you very much. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.